Hi guys, welcome back. And today we're gonna continue doing some ZBrush. I'm doing streaming OBS today, so if there's any technical issues, I apologize. It's my first time streaming in OBS. Anyway, so as you can see, I worked a little bit more on this pilot helmet sculpt. It's pretty close to be done, and at this point I already covered all the tools that I used to build it, and I really don't want to just beat the dead horse over and over again, because what's the point of like I don't find this exciting, because you guys probably won't be learning anything new at this point. You'll just watch me do the same thing over and over again. So what I want to do is basically kind of do an analysis and self-critique on the way I created this this sculpt. Well, quote unquote create. Well, I guess I did create it. I just haven't finished it yet. But the things that I've learned so far, I want to reflect on them and see what I can do better next time. So what I feel is like I spent a lot of time on this sculpt doing a cleanup, because the way I approach this is the same way I would approach Harsurface sculpting in the past, where we didn't have Booleans prior to this release, and you would start by sculpting a rough mesh like this, and then use the topology tool, or just like panel loops and other ZBrush tools to kind of clean it up after the fact. And I feel like I spent a ridiculous amount of time cleaning this sculpt to turn it into something that's presentable and that's nice and clean. And I mean, by ridiculous amount of time, I mean I probably spent combined maybe 2 days on this entire thing, and a lot of time was of course spent on narrating what I'm doing and also learning new tools. But I mean, it wasn't that bad, but it can be much better. So what I want to do is, for the next few days, kind of go and practice the approach of building complex shapes with low poly boxes, spheres, and basic primitives. Because if you look at this, ZBrush comes with this the cone, cylinder, cube, and sphere. Well, also ring. These are the very basic shapes, and if you do any kinds of drawing, especially design-oriented drawing exercises, or ever read Scott Robertson's drawing books, there's this method called draw through. I think it's called that. But basically, what it means is that any complex object can be created using these very basic primitives, and it's just a matter of combining them to create more complex shapes. And once you learn to see the objects around you as a series of compound shapes, and kind of apply it to your drawing, it's really easy to take this and like maybe translate it into a joint of sorts, or a more complex design. And that's how you get better at drawing like a sci-fi designs, tanks, vehicles in perspective that have very elaborate intersections. Anyway, how does this apply to ZBrush? Well, designing in this with simplified shapes allows me to then go in and start taking this simple stuff and making it more advanced and turning it into a more, you know, elaborate designs. Because it's much easier to take a straight line and turn it into like modify it to make it more interesting. While if you have something that's already curved and messy, like that original sculpt that I did, it is going to be much harder to turn it back into. Where is my thing? I just lost it. Damn it. What I'm trying to say, it's much harder to turn the shape that's already modified, that's already not straight, back into a straight, nice, clean plane. So anyway, without further ado, let's jump in. Maybe one thing before I get there, I wanted to give you another tips and tricks type of a thing. You can see I have this coiled cable, and in order to create this cable, I used the curve brush, and let me show you. So I built this kind of geometry, and then I separated it into 3 polygroups, and I believe it has to be vertical. So now the idea is that you, with this mesh selected, you go on the brush, create, and do create insert mesh, and it will create this nice little insert mesh for you that you can, by default, stroke. You'll be able to insert like this. So all you need to do is just enable curve mode. And now you can see we have a perfect coil. I can do a very quick demo to show how this works in depth. So let's see. Just gonna grab a cylinder and let's like create, turn it into something interesting. So make polymesh 3D. Yeah, I wish I. Okay, so delete edge loop complete. Just quickly clean it up. Let's crease this. Let's bevel that. Okay, so we have this base, and now I'm gonna inset region flat island. So I'll have something like this. Hue mesh. Oh, flat island as well. Oh, wait a second. Flat island and polygroup. Flat and polygroup. There you go. And you can always, you know, combine sliders and that type of stuff to modify your shape. Okay, so this is our kind of like a plug, and then let's well, let's just extrude this part. I'm just control dragging the gizmo to extrude, and sure, that's gonna be fine. And what I'm gonna do is I'll combine it, and I will mirror and weld on the vertical axis. Other way around. Okay, so there we go. So now we have a central piece and we have two caps. And now oh, wrong brush. This is gonna be our central polygroup, and these are gonna be our start and end. Now to make it more interesting, what we can do, insert multiple edge loops with interactive elevation. And let's just make this little butt plug. There you go. Now we need 3 polygroups, so okay. So let's say that's what we want. Go brush. Oh, another thing is if you want this to support dynamic subdivision, you probably want to crease it in advance. So just because I'm a perfectionist, let's crease, edge loop complete, and say we want something like this. Damn it. Of course I did it on the wrong side. It's a little bit hard to do it on a vertical axis because I don't generally do any vertical assets like this. It's usually just the x-axis. Okay, so with this in place, brush, create insert mesh. Just a new brush. Okay, and now if we insert, you can see we have this. If I go here and where are you? Stroke, curve mode, and you can see we have the start, and then let me make it bigger. There's a start, there's a tiling piece, and there's the end. The problem, of course, is as you can see here, there's gaps between. So under brush, you can go under, I believe, what was it? Modifiers? Yeah, modifiers, and then enable weld points. And now if I click on it, you can see it welds them together. Anyway, so that's how you can really quickly create complex wires. Alright, so let's move on. I'm gonna save this project and open a new one. Oh, great. ZBrush has stopped working while saving. That solves one of my problems. Where are you, ZBrush? There you go. Okay, so let me just save it properly. Okay, save as. I don't want to save it. I want to save a project. Alright, so Now, let's quickly jump into Photoshop and actually plan out what we want to do. I'm gonna create a new canvas. Just very basic small canvas. So, we want a hard surface design of sorts, and we want it to be intricate enough so I actually can do a good test and kind of mix of organic and hard surface elements. So I was thinking I'll do like a robot leg of sorts. And before I jump into actually putting it together, well, I need to know what I'm doing. I need to know what the actual plan is, so I don't spend too much time just wandering around trying to understand what's going on, or trying to because the thing with 3D is that there's so many. You're working in 3 dimensions, and it's hard to just kind of plan the overall direction in a very quick way, because with 2D you're just you're working with like a flat shape kind of from one angle at a time, and it's much easier to be faster about the decisions you make. Well, 3D, in my opinion, well, it's fantastic, but it's just not as fast, at least not for me. And there's plenty of artists who've been doing 3D concept design only, and they are really fast at it. But I just like the 2D aspects too much. Okay, so a leg has some joints. It's got nice little, maybe there's kind of some sort of this kind of a thing at the back. And like this like, it's not, I'm just doing this purely as a exercise. It's not gonna be the best design ever, but I'm hoping that it's gonna be interesting enough and intricate enough to create a challenge that I want. Okay, don't like that anymore. Designing in silhouettes is a really nice way to quickly kind of get a feel for something and get the overall shape of it right. Now, once you have the silhouette, you can drop the opacity or fill it with like a lighter color and actually go in and start planning the inside parts. Just very quickly doing a loose sketch. With sci-fi designs and with a lot of real-world stuff, just I'm trying to avoid leaving just straight lines, because it may result with like with your design feeling a little bit too sterile. But there's a balance to everything. Like, this is a straight line, but you know, we can do something like this to kind of break it up a bit. And just bear with me, it's gonna be a very quick sketch, and we'll jump back to Photoshop, to ZBrush in a sec. making a brush bigger and zooming out to kind of avoid getting too caught up on details. I haven't done any kind of proper research on mechanics, and I don't really do mechanical stuff on day-to-day basis, so it's probably not the most realistic thing ever, but like I said, it's just a test. Oh, hi Alyssa. I'll wave back. I don't know where my camera is pointing. Oh, there we go. Alright, so I got no idea if this is complex enough. And of course it's a little bit out of perspective, which we can fix. Anyway, so this is kind of like just like the overall shape. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's purely there to give me a direction to go with. So let's just move it onto the other screen. And let's get down to business. Projects. I'll just grab a sphere project. All right. So we got a ball. I'm gonna go and start by simply blocking out this entire leg shape using boxes only. And for some reason my scale is all wonky. Got axiom. Oh, because I'm on the wrong axis, I believe. There we go. And let's look at the topology. I'm gonna be stretching some faces, but I think that's fine, and like it's good enough. I can always add more edges later. It's better to have less edges early on than too many of them. So there we have our kneecap here. And then we have the part that goes in. Slightly. I think I'm gonna use a lot of deformers here to give it a better shape, but okay, duplicate it again. Scale it up. And I think that's fine. And let's replace this guy with a cylinder. Now, control clicking on. So here's the thing: all these guys are one polygroup. I'm just gonna run outer groups, so I can control click and mask a guy, and then like mask a polygroup that I click on. and then control drag to duplicate it again. So very quickly starting to block out the shapes that I need. So using clip curve, we can start giving it a little bit more of a form. The reason I like clip curve for this is because it still maintains the kind of the sharpness that I need. Of course, it kind of screws up with like the topology flow, but this is fine. We're gonna be using Booleans for everything anyway, so. Okay, let's click on this guy. Why am I struggling? There we go. And once again with clip curve, give it a little bit of a form. And you can see very quickly we've got this kind of robotic face blocked out. Let's scale it up. Alright, good start. Okay, now with this blocked out, let's see how we can start turning these into something more advanced. First of all, we can split by groups. Split to parts, rather. And now we have them all as a separate subtools. If I turned on dynamic, you can see we it starts to loses some of the sharpness, and at the same time, because I had like my the bunch of edge loops to begin with, it's not as soft as I would want it to be. So here I want to kind of have like a contrast between sharp and round edges, and in order for me to create a sharp edge, it's pretty easy. I'm just gonna crease an edge, crease, edge loop complete. So you can see it creases it nicely, but the top I want to be more rounded up. So we can either use slide edge to control the curvature, or we can delete edges that we don't need. Alright, that's good. Okay, and now with slide, I'm also gonna crank up my smoothness so I can see it nicely. So as you can see, you got a very low poly mesh, and we can control its surface very easily. So that's awesome. Now let's get the overall shape more interesting. Now, because I have so few edges, it might be a little bit hard to shape it the way I want to. So I might go in and add some edge loops here and there. As a matter of fact, let's do insert, and I'll just do a single edge loop, because there's going to be a lot of deformation along this edge. Okay, and now center it, disable masking, center it, disable mirroring, and re-enable mirroring. Now, okay, deformer. And as you can see, because of my orientation of my Gizmo 3D, it was like vertical. my lattice is also the same way. So I'm just from the side view, I'm gonna hold Alt and rotate it to roughly match my shape. And now let's go to the deformer again, and now I have much better match. Okay, so let's see. I want symmetry on this side, and I also want a little bit more subdivisions to play with. Right, this is good. Another thing is there's different symmetry types for this, for lattice deformers. So you can see there's parallel and there's mirror. So you need to drag it all the way to get it to act like a mirror. Okay, and let's start making it interesting, shall we? And I think because I'm gonna be using cutouts, oh, you can rotate it as you do, that's cool. Let's see. Yeah, you can, that's actually really nice, I didn't realize you can move and rotate it as you are latticing it. So I'm gonna go a little bit past where I need it to go, and then I'll use Booleans to cut chunks out to make it cooler looking. Okay, I think that's a good start. Okay, accept. Cool. So we've got the more or less interesting basic shape. Where do we take it from here? Well, let's start introducing some more of a hard surface kind of edges and transitions. So let's see. I'm gonna draw using just very basic primitives. Cylinder from the side. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Append a sphere. Set it very small. Move it inside of my leg and set it to be negative. And now I'm gonna start. So for the sphere, I want it to be dynamic, and I guess smooth subdivisions too. Okay, let's do that. Okay, inserting. First off, I didn't have mirror on. I can just do mirror and weld. And another thing, I'm gonna crease by like 90, so I have sharper edges. Alright, and live boolean on, poly groups off. Bam. So with this, I can start to design the shape of my leg. Oh, also LSIM was off, so I screwed up. Let's do another mirror and weld. Oops. LSIM off. Mirror and weld. There we go. So currently, as you can see, my boolean affects all other subtools, and so I'm gonna move it up and I'm gonna make sure that the ones underneath it have like a start group so it doesn't affect them. Oh, damn it. Okay, so... Oh, my symmetry wasn't on, that's what it is. Okay, activate symmetry. Now we're good. So, in a very organic fashion, I can start cutting off and subtracting shapes. Let's insert a cube. Oh, and by the way, you gotta switch to draw and then insert it and then to move. So I hope you see where I'm going with this. So here, let's insert a sphere. Damn it. Draw, then insert a sphere. And now with the sphere selected, push it in and stretch it out. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. And looking at my quick concept sketch, I know that I want like a central piece of sorts and then something on the sides. So I'm literally just moving my sphere around and trying to come up with the shape that I like. Maybe that's what I want. I think so. Okay, something along these lines. Now insert another quick cube. Ah, damn it, keep doing this. There you go. So I have this cube that is kind of there, and I want it to be sharper. So two things I can do: I can crease it all, but I believe it's gonna affect my other stuff. So let's see. Crease. No, looks like it's fine. Okay, so I just creased by 90 degrees only on this specific cube. Now if you go back, you can see we have a sharp guy. Except I want to make sure that I have that cube masked. And we're starting to create a more elaborate, cool shape here. Okay, and I'm gonna duplicate it by control dragging and cut off the bottom. So you can see really nice, and it's starting to get really elaborate very quick. Now back to our main shape, let's insert a cube. And by default it masks the part that you insert on top, so I'm just gonna split and mask points. Press down on my keyboard to go to the subtool beneath, which is the stuff that I inserted. And let's use it as a extrusion of sorts. Now our topology is pretty low, so I can do a grid divide, and with this we'll do a deformer. So, a little piece of armor or whatever that is. Now, let's apply the deformer. Let's see what this looks like. Not bad. Gonna scale it in a bit. Cool. Maybe I'll crease just an edge here. So crease, edge, blue partial. Come on, buddy. There you go. Okay, that's cool. All right. So this is a really nice start for the base. Let's see. So that's our surface. Okay, what I can do is duplicate this guy, set it to subtractive, and also like introduce a little bit of like inner shell here. So this way we can actually put some mechanical stuff inside of this little cavity that we've created. Alright, so let's move to our next part. So we have the knee joint. And it's a beautiful box, the most boxiest beauty of it all. What did I just do? What the hell? I have no idea what happened. So I'm just gonna recreate this. Okay, that's fine. For some reason my scale gizmo just scaled the entire box to 0 without me asking for it. That was weird. So I want this to kind of stick out, and I want it to be a multi-layered thing. So this is good. We can just use move, and let's see, symmetry is on, and let's enable dynamic to preview this. So this is cool. Z modeler. I'm gonna remember how I said multi-layered. What I mean by that is I want the part of the cap to stick out, and then there's like the kind of inner part that this armor is protecting. So I could just do a poly loop, a Q mesh or something like that. Let's disable dynamic and see what it actually looks like first. Okay, this is good. Dynamic. And remember what I said about straight lines, trying to kind of avoid them as much as possible, or like for the matter of, as a matter of fact, 45-degree angles are pretty overused sci-fi shape, so only using them where I really need them. Okay, that's cool. And I want this, well, like I'm gonna leave this shape like this because there's no point of me refining it too far until I kind of figure out how it all connects together. So let's just leave it the way it is and move on to this shape. So it needs to have some kind of like this type of a thing. Oh, that's weird. Huh. It's like, I think splitting to parts did something not good, because whenever I'm trying to do topology modifications, it just gets rid of my object entirely. That's not good. Alright, well, I'll have to investigate what it is. Never had this issue in my entire life. But I only had the new ZBrush for last week, so there's always something new. Okay, hopefully Z modeler. Okay, and then Q mesh single face. There you go. So you see what I mean with the creating the interlocking shape? And now I need to figure out how it actually combines or works with the rest of the knee. Just use the move brush and clip to give it a little bit of a more interesting shape. Let's crank up our smooth divisions. So you can see we have starting to get something a little bit more interesting. And this is like, I don't know, I've been working on this for the last half an hour. So far it goes much faster than if I went ahead and sculpted this leg the way I approached the helmet design that I've been working on. Okay, let's add some booleans to this guy. So we want this to be a separate part, so I activate the start, and we can just go ahead and insert, let's say, a cylinder. We can use this one because it's which one should I go for? Doesn't matter, I'm gonna crease it anyway. So insert in it, and then split in hidden, split in the mask points, setting this guy to negative, and creasing by 90 degrees, or anything less than 90 but not too low, because then you're gonna get facets all over the place. Oh, I just noticed that if you hover this little yellow square, you can switch the side you're on. Oh no, I crossed the streams. That's pretty cool. Let's see, if I go, well, I can just crease again, it's not gonna affect my cylinders. Let's grab the cylinder, duplicate it, and split and mask points and set it to additive, and start adding some form. Damn it, I'm trying to escape. So really quickly building some really complex shapes here. Let's duplicate this. So I guess I could just use a quick deformer. Unmasked part doesn't, okay, sure. when you see this message about mask parts and symmetry, you can just get rid of the symmetry and enable deformer. And with it in place, we can start moving points. Excellent. Now that we have the kind of the two intersecting parts, actually before I finish this guy, I want something a little bit more cooler, and I'm gonna go to back to my self-destructive guy. Maybe grab another sphere. Oh shit. Okay, switch to draw, then grab the sphere. And insert it over here. You know what? Let's use a cube. There you go. And I wanted to match this the shape of the upper leg. So with clip, oh crap, with clip, we don't have enough subdivisions, so grid divide, there you go, much better. Okay, so where's my cap? Is that my cap? Yeah. Pretty good. I might wanna crease some edges, but let's see. The cap is gonna be covering most of it anyway. I'll try one more quick thing. Insert a cube. Trying to kind of match this ongoing cutout design language that I have on the upper leg. And also introduce some interesting looking bevel type stuff. Alright, not bad. Or maybe too much. It's a good idea to judge your model from the distance, because then you make sure that you don't overdo the details. Okay. Good enough. Let's make our cap nice and sexy. So make it a starter, insert a cylinder, now insert them, split and masked, set it to subtractive, and do the crease thing. With symmetry, it's a little bit easier to scale things this way. I'm gonna insert another cube. And start shaping the kind of the overall form. That's pretty cool. Let's duplicate it. Okay, and insert another one up the top. As I'm adding more and more booleans, my performance is slowing down a bit. So once I'm happy with overall shapes, I'm probably gonna go in and turn them back into the static meshes. What is it called? Make boolean mesh. This way I can get some of my performance back. So one thing that I do not like here is how soft this shape is. Well, I'm gonna try do a grid divide. Oh, and the problem with this is grid divide subdivides all. But actually, let me look at this again, because I kind of like. Oh yeah, I like this. That's what they call a happy little accident. Okay, so now with this, let's shape this part better. And what I want is some kind of a shape that kind of interlocks with this cap. So what I'm gonna do is duplicate this and do split. And then turn this split mesh into additive. And insert it in. Now, I think my symmetry is off on it completely. Yeah, it's all wonky. Let's do mirror and weld. Let's polish by features. And with the move brush, shape it better. And one thing that we can do, yikes, that's not good. Let's see. Let's do another mirror and weld. No, kind of messy. A lot of times, if the distance between these points is too small, is pretty small, we can just maybe do the weld points, but not in this case. I'll leave it the way it is, or let's see, zero measure. Hey, that's pretty good. Okay, and dynamic on, and with Z modeler, let's skew mesh a few faces. Oh, wait a second, that's the wrong Q mesh. Poly loop. Instead, I'll just duplicate this. And add a second layer, like this. Okay, not bad. We can subtract from it later. I can start feeling the slowdown, but that's fine. So next thing, my kneecap is kind of clipping with my foot. So I just got a text saying that I should wave with the camera, so I'm gonna wave with the camera. Hi, camera. We want to subtract from this. Let's go to my subtractive set of shapes, which is a lot of messy shapes, and insert another cube. Cube or cylinder? Cube. Okay, we did insert it. Come on, buddy. Yeah, I really like that. So something like this. And then I could potentially even duplicate it. Continue the same kind of notion here. Now, of course, I can't really see well what's happening under the cap, and I want it to be more or less realistic. I don't want it just to be like a floating hole. So I'm gonna hide this piece and see what's actually going on, and there's nothing good going on here. So let's go back, reset my axis or pivot, and actually make sure that there's some thickness going on. And where's my other cube? So at this point, like, this is already ridiculous, so I'll probably stop adding shapes to this guy, this cluster of subtractive shapes. Let's do auto groups, and then mirror and weld. So as you can see, I added a little bit of that kind of support thing that would be used to hold this kneecap together. And let's make sure that it works. Pretty good. And what's this stuff? Something sticking out. Oh, it's this piece. I can just do clip curve. And this guy, oh, I'm gonna with the clip curve kind of polish up the its curvature. Not bad. Oh. I accidentally ended this clip. And what's this guy? Okay, that's this piece. So let's do another clip. And mirror and weld because symmetry was off. No. So if I disable live booleans, you can see it's a quite a beautiful piece of abstract art. But with it off, we are starting to get a fairly complex hard surface shape, which is awesome. "10 out of 10 indeed. So it's time for me to get back to work, but I'm just gonna loosely describe what my plan is for the next set of pieces. So I'm gonna continue all the way down and kind of refine the rest of the leg in the same way that you see here. Also, I've established that I want something going on inside of this armor shell, so we can just append a cylinder and go in and oh, wrong circle. And like start establishing some pistons and more mechanical parts. And for that, I'll actually, like, I'm not gonna be doing it today on the stream, but I'll do some research and collect some mechanical hydraulics references. Like maybe it's something like this where we have actually 2 hydraulic pistons. Because like I said, this is purely what's the word? I'm doing it on a go. I didn't plan for doing a hydraulic robot leg. But yeah, so we could put something like this over here and then duplicate this guy and have like a smaller piston hydraulic thing over here, just like in my loose sketch that I did in the beginning. But you can see very quickly this is turning into something actually pretty cool looking. Last thing, I mean, should we render this and see what it looks like? I'm gonna click make boolean mesh, and what it does is it combines it all, but as you can see, I didn't have the dynamic subdivision on, so it's quite rough looking. Let's go back here, enable dynamic subdivision, and then make boolean mesh again. Alright. And now we have this super nice, super clean, and actually quite low poly piece of geometry. And, well, let's render it. Nothing is more awesome than ending a stream with some shiny renders. Keyshot. Hey Cadaddy Vision, how are you doing? I'm just about to wrap this up, but the preview is going to be up. Not the preview, the replay is going to be up in less than an hour. And here's our beautiful leg. Let's get some glossy paint job on it. Yeah, and I was messing with lighting. I might do a separate stream just on how to do nice lighting in Keyshot using HDRI editor. So sci-fi. So I got this very quick and dirty sci-fi lighting preset. Awesome. Cool. Alright guys, I hope you learned a thing or two. I'm definitely excited with this new approach to modeling, and I think once I'm done this leg, what the hell, I might even build the entire robot, because it's going pretty fast. I want to revisit the helmet and maybe design a brand new helmet using this approach where I'm basically just moving primitives around and subtracting from them, because this is pretty awesome. Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.